Finn Bálor snaps on Raw. Finn's dark turn. McDonagh in chaos. Raw turns brutal. Bálor goes too far. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Have you ever watched two former allies fight and realized one of them wasn't trying to win anymore, he was trying to erase the other from existence? And at what point does a wrestling grudge stop feeling like a storyline and start looking way too personal for television? Because what happened between Finn Bálor and McDonagh on Raw honestly felt less like a match and more like watching years of frustration explode all at once. This wasn't clean. It wasn't strategic. It wasn't even controlled. It was ugly, violent, emotional, and somehow kind of uncomfortable to watch at times. In the best possible wrestling way, of course. The crazy part is, the crowd knew something was off before the first punch was even thrown. You could feel it immediately. The camera kept cutting to Finn during his entrance, and he had that look. You know the look. The "I haven't slept in 3 days and somebody's about to pay for it" expression. No smile. No swagger. No slow dramatic posing. He walked down that ramp like a man heading into a parking lot fight behind a gas station at 2 a.m. Meanwhile, McDonagh came out trying to act confident, but even he looked tense. And honestly, can you blame him? Imagine standing across the ring from a version of Finn Bálor that looks like he just permanently deleted anger management from his phone. The second the bell rang, there was no feeling out process, no technical showcase, and no slow opening exchange. Finn sprinted across the ring and nearly took JD's head off instantly. The audience completely lost it. Not the usual, but was a cool move kind of reaction either. I'm talking about that shocked scream wrestling fans make when they realize something chaotic is happening for real. JD tried retreating early, which honestly might have been the smartest decision he made all night, but Finn chased him down like a horror movie villain. He launched him into the barricade so hard the camera literally shook. Fans in the front row were jumping backward like they accidentally bought tickets to an action movie instead of Monday Night Raw. And here's where things started getting really interesting, because this wasn't just aggression. There was intent behind every move. Finn wasn't fighting like somebody trying to prove he was the better wrestler. He was fighting like somebody trying to punish JD for existing. That's different. There's usually a rhythm to wrestling matches, even brutal ones. This had none. It felt unpredictable. 1 second Finn was stomping JD near the announce table, and the next he was ripping weapons out from under the ring before commentary could even react. And let's be honest for a second. Every single time somebody reaches under the ring in WWE, we all turn into little kids again. Chairs? Cool. Tables? Nice. Kendo sticks? Classic. But the second fans hear that metal scraping sound under the apron, everybody suddenly becomes a detective trying to guess which nightmare object is about to appear next. Finn grabbed a steel chair and immediately swung it with absolutely zero hesitation. No dramatic pause, no crowd tease, just BAM. JD barely got his hands up in time. And you could feel the mood changing inside the arena. People stopped laughing and started reacting like, okay, this is getting serious now. Then JD finally fired back, and honestly, credit where it's due. A lot of people underestimate McDonagh because he's constantly surrounded by bigger personalities, but the guy becomes vicious once he builds momentum. He smashed Finn into the steel steps with a shot that sounded absolutely disgusting. One of those impacts where commentary goes quiet for a second because everybody collectively needs time to process what they just heard. Finn dropped instantly. JD looked around at the crowd with this wild expression like he'd finally realized he could actually hurt Finn tonight. And that confidence changed everything. Suddenly, the match turned into a complete war. Weapons were flying everywhere. Bodies were crashing into barricades. Punches were landing harder and harder. At one point, Finn got thrown over the announce desk so violently that one of the monitors nearly flew off the table. Michael Cole sounded genuinely stressed, and honestly, same. There was one moment that perfectly summed up the entire fight. JD had Finn trapped in the corner with a chair wedged between the ropes. The crowd started buzzing because everybody knew something horrible was coming. JD backed up slowly, lining up his shot like a man about to commit several wrestling crimes simultaneously. Then Finn moved at the last possible second. JD crashed face first into the chair. The sound echoed through the entire arena. I swear half the audience made that painful "oh" noise at the exact same time. You know the one. The wrestling fan survival noise. But Finn didn't even celebrate. That's what made it creepy. He just stared at JD while breathing heavily, almost like he was deciding how much worse he wanted this to get. And if you're enjoying the chaos so far, hit that like button and subscribe, because somehow this match only got more insane from there. Now here's where the atmosphere completely changed. The lights around ringside reflected off the steel weapons, commentary started talking quieter, and the crowd wasn't chanting as much anymore because everybody was waiting for the next disaster to happen. That's when Finn pulled out the table. And listen, wrestling fans always pretend they're tired of tables until a table actually appears. Then suddenly everybody stands up like ancient instincts have activated. The crowd erupted instantly. JD tried stopping him, but Finn blasted him with another chair shot and slowly slid the table into the ring like he had all the time in the world. That's the scary thing about calm anger. Loud anger burns fast. Calm anger ruins lives. Finn set the table up while JD struggled to stand, and the camera caught this unbelievable shot of Finn staring directly at him with this cold expression that honestly looked less like a wrestler and more like somebody settling an old debt. Then JD shocked everybody. Out of nowhere, he countered Finn and drove him through the table instead. The arena exploded. For a split second, it looked like momentum had completely shifted. Fans were screaming, commentary was losing their minds, and JD crawled into the cover looking absolutely desperate. 1, 2, kick out. And the second Finn kicked out, the entire mood changed again, because Finn didn't just kick out. He sat up instantly. No dramatic pause, no slow recovery, just pure terrifying intensity. JD visibly panicked, and honestly, who could blame him? That was the moment JD realized he might have made things even worse. Then Finn started laughing. Not full movie villain laughter or anything, but that exhausted, angry laugh people do when they're too furious to function normally anymore. And that's when the match crossed into another level entirely. Finn cornered JD near the barricade and unloaded strike after strike while the crowd counted along. Fans weren't even sitting anymore. Everybody was standing, phones out, screaming, reacting, trying to process what they were watching. Even security at ringside looked nervous. There was one fan in the front row whose face basically became a meme in real time. The guy looked like he just witnessed a bank robbery. Finn launched JD over the barricade into the crowd area, and suddenly Raw felt less like WWE programming and more like complete anarchy. Officials tried stepping in briefly, but Finn shoved right past them. That detail mattered, because it told you this wasn't about winning anymore. This was personal revenge disguised as a wrestling match. And honestly, wrestling is at its best when it feels slightly out of control. Not dangerous in a bad way, but dangerous in that cinematic I cannot look away from this train wreck kind of way. JD somehow kept surviving, though, and that's the underrated part of this whole thing. He kept getting back up. Chair shots, barricades, tables, concrete floor impacts, Finn threw everything at him, and JD kept crawling back into the fight looking more exhausted every single time. You almost started rooting for him purely out of respect. Almost. Then came the moment everybody's talking about. Finn cleared off the announce table. And you already know what that means. Wrestling announce tables have one purpose in life.